A former Olympian who represented Canada in the 1984 Games has gone on a hunger strike. Paul James, who also coached York U's soccer team, is starving himself to draw national attention to what he calls stigma around recovering drug addicts.
I will refrain from eating and intaking fluids with the exception of water for the foreseeable future in protest to the discrimination, overt discrimination and prejudice I have received since my exposed mental health, poor mental health in the form of depression and a substance use disorder to crack cocaine.
James also played for Team Canada in the 1986 World Cup. He's been dealing with drug addiction. He's not working and says he can't get the supports he needs to get his life back on track. He's calling on the federal government to look at his situation and to make change to help others with substance abuse issues.
I'm 53 years of age. I haven't worked for 8 years in spite of applying for over 100 jobs. I'm penniless, homeless, with no social status.
Paul James is with me now in the studio. You've gone now 42 hours without food, Paul. How are you feeling physically?
I'm hungry, but I'm feeling okay. I've actually been through the process before, back in the fall, and that's where I decided to make it a public campaign, because it's not just about myself. It's really about awareness for anybody that's gone through my situation or going through my situation with the stigma, it's the discrimination. It's not so much anymore the health issue. Mm-hmm. It's not the health issue for me. This is not about me. I'm in good health. But when you try to get employment, and if you recognize that employment is the #1 determinant of recovery, then you're always going to be vulnerable. And I think that my message is that how can it be, if we want to penetrate $51 billion in economic burden that we have as a country, and as a result of untreated poor mental health, then it's logical that people have to come forward to receive help. But when I came forward, and you fear it. You fear that you're going to be stigmatized. I'm living proof that the Canadian government, the Prime Minister, needs to understand that if people fearing about coming out open, and it's an economic burden of $51 billion, we've got to correct that, and we've got to make sure that people like myself are not stigmatized and discriminated against in the way that I've been.
And how do you think the government can remove the stigma? What do you want, education programs? What do you think they need to do?
In terms of my situation, they need to look at the discrimination claims that I had against York University and a local soccer team, and they need to do it forensically, to look at how I got treated as a self-represented applicant. Because for me, it's overwhelming, the injustice. If you correct that injustice, it puts the burden on organizations that when they know they have an employee with distress, clear distress, that opened up to them, that they give them the support that they need.
And we keep hearing people saying it's important that people come forward. When people come forward, this happens. What supports do you see out there now?
It's very poor, and that's why it needs to go to Jane Philpotts. It's okay for Jane Philpotts to say that this is an epidemic, whether it's fentanyl or any kind of drug. That's great, but when you talk about evidence-based, then there needs to be the right support mechanisms in place to give that evidence-based treatment.
You've represented this country on the world stage. You are now trying to make a difference for yourself and people like you. You have a website set up. What do you want people to do?
I want people to visit that website. It's confrontingthestigmaofdrugaddiction.com. Make any comments, read the articles, like through this process. I mean, I cannot believe that I'm going on hunger strike to be able to make an impact on this country, but I'm prepared to do it to the end. And I believe it will get global attention, because it's not just in Canada, but Canada can be a leader in this. And I'll give the government an idea here. What about end the war on people? We all talk about the war on drugs, but it's never been about a war on drugs. It's been a war on people, and I'm living proof of that. And I represent millions of other Canadians and millions of other people around the world that suffer tremendous indignity. There's tremendous fear about being caught and about being open, when it could be so much better. And Canada, you know, we're not going to fight the wars that maybe the United States are, but we can sure fight this one. Fight the war to end the war on people.
I hope you get the attention that you need from the government to end this hunger strike soon. Thank you for your time tonight, Paul.
Thank you.